Well, hello, welcome again to a reading through of Iliad Book 16. And I got up to line 548. And so the Sarpedon has been killed, and the Trojans are concerned that the Greeks will come and despoil his body and disfigure it, and so they attempt to defend the body. So hos ephato, thus he spoke, and now the subject here is asketon penthos. So asketos, it's alpha privative, the skut is connected with echo. It has the sense of unstoppable. So an unstoppable grief came. So it's grief which was unstoppable, uk epi ekton, literally not yielding, so perhaps overpowering, I think some people render it. Katakrathen, you see the old then ending, the cray here is from an old verb kras, a word for the head, third declension, and so this means literally from the head downwards. In other words, it's everywhere, it's over their entire body, so we might say completely. So thus he spoke, and grief which is unstoppable and overpowering took the Trojans, katakrathen, literally from the head down, so perhaps completely, since, now the esken is that iterative form from Amy, so since he was for them, a herma, this is a third declension noun, it's cognate with the verb ergo, which is to fence in, and so herma is a defence, a bulwark, often translated. So he was a defence for the city. A nice little touch here, per eon allodapos, although being from a foreign land. It's almost, although he was a foreigner, it's almost as though he was a ring-in. So since he was a defence, a bulwark for the city for them, and he was continually, because it's iterative, although being from a foreign land. So even kai and pair in later Greek go together to form kai pair plus a participle. In Homer they're still separate. So although being a foreigner. Polyesga am auto, and then the next page is la oi hepont. For the polyes goes with the la oi on the next page. Many, a great host, so literally many people, and the hepont followed, and hammer auto on the previous page along with him. So he brought lots of people with him. Among them, this is that verbial use here of en, among them he himself, another iterative here from Aristuo, he was the best at fighting. Interesting use of the infinitive here. As I may have mentioned before, the infinitive was originally an old dative, and so it's best for the fighting, so best, we would say best at fighting. Bandithus donaon leli amenoi, and they went eagerly. This is one of these almost fossilized forms. You do get other forms of this verb, but this is fairly standard participle here, meaning eagerly. So they went eagerly straight for the Danans. So they made straight for the Danans eagerly. And Hector led the way, Arche led the way accordingly, spin for spisi for them, omenos, being angry, and then we get a defining genitive, so being angry over, we might say here, Sarpedon, over the death of Sarpedon. Ate Archaius, but Yeah, this funny expression, lassie on care, it literally means the shaggy heart. So the shaggy heart of Patroclus, son of Menoetus, stirred them up. This is from Ornumi, stirred them on. A shaggy heart, it's a funny expression. It is used elsewhere, once I think in Homer, to describe somebody else. It has the idea that if your hair, it's like our expression hairy chested. So a hairy chest indicated that you were very manly. So hair in front of your heart indicated you were very manly. You could translate it here as stout. The stout heart of Patroclus, son of Menoetus, drove them on. And he addressed, now we get proto is a dual going with the iante. These are the two Ajaxes. We would translate this as an adverb, but the Greek has it as an adjective. So he addressed the two sons of Ajax, the two Ajaxes who were first. So we would say firstly he addressed the two Ajaxes. Another dual, it's sort of almost even, the two of them being eager. So despite the fact that they were very eager, the two of them, these are dual forms here. This is, we've seen that one form many times. It's from mema'a. It's perfect in form, present in meaning, to desire or to be eager. Ianti, two Ajaxes, it's the dual, two Ajaxes. Now, let it be, Philon, dear, sphoin, dual, to the two of you, ammunestai, to act in defence, so to ward off, understand, the enemy. Hoioi per paros, such as you, the pair is really emphatic here, in the very way in which you were previously among men, so such as you were previously among men, akairaios, or even better. It's a bit like that expression, remember your impetuous valour. It's the same sort of thing. So let it be dear to you to fight off the enemy, such as you were previously amongst men, or even better. Kaita anar, there was, so a man lies, so Sarpedon, well, a man lies who, protos, first of all, who was the first one, who, put it into English, or you could just say who firstly, es ailato, you can see the ace there, the al root here is from halamai, to leap. So this is the aorist, slightly irregular aorist middle from halamai, or ace halamai, to leap into, or rush into, to rush against almost the, to rush into the wall of the Achaeans, i.e. Sarpedon. So he lies there, Kaite, for there lies a man who was the first one to rush into the wall of the Achaeans, i.e. Sarpedon. Now, of course, this is Patroclus. He wants to get hold of the body of Sarpedon to disfigure it. So come, Allah often at the beginning of a sentence has the sense of to come. So come, if Helontes from Hyrio, having taken hold of him, this is an optative here after the A, if we might, well, it means to disfigure. It's not a very nice word. It's sort of to cut to pieces, to disfigure him. So if having taken, we might disfigure him, and we might remove from Apo plus the hell from Hyrio, if we might remove the armour, this is a dual genitive here, from his two shoulders. So it's a genitive being used in like an ablatival, in an ablatival sense here. Greek, of course, has no ablative, and the genitive often does the job of where Latin might do, or Sanskrit might do, an ablative. We might tame, that is, we might kill, a certain one of the comrades of him defending, making their defence, so that we might tame, literally with the cruel bronze, that is, with our cruel spear, any of the comrades, any of his comrades who are defending him. Hos ephat, thus he spoke. Hoi de kaiautoi alexastai meniainon. Thus he spoke, and they themselves also. We don't get duals here. This is from meniaino. The verb is meniaino here. It's to eagerly desire, and they themselves eagerly. It's imperfect here, so we're eagerly desiring to ward off, understand, the enemy. We might say to make a defence, perhaps, to ward off the enemy. And they, when, now the verb here is, this is kartuno. By metathesis, this is for kratuno. You often get an interchange of letters in Homer, generally for the sake of meter. So kartuno is for kratuno. You can see the kratos power there. So it means to strengthen, and it's in the middle here. So they, when they had strengthened the phalanxes, whatever that means in Homer, the battalions, it's sometimes translated, amphoterothin, from both sides, and I think here it's referring, given what comes here, I think it's referring, the they refers both to Patroclus and to Hector. So that's what this "off from both sides" means. So they, that is Patroclus on the Greek side and Hector on the Trojan side. So when they had done that, the Trojans and the Lycians and the Myrmidons and the Achaeans, they, sun ebalon, this is from sum ballo, to join in battle. Normally in Homer, that sum ballo is used in the middle for that sense of to join battle, but here it's just in the active. So they joined battle, makesthai, to fight around the dead corpse. A perfect participle from katathnesko here. Usantes denon, denon is adverbial, calling out, yelling terribly. And the tukia, it's the armour, perhaps it's the weapons here of the men, roared greatly. Wonderful little phrase here. Homer likes to paint the picture of what's going on, and he does it so well. But Zeus, the gods have to come into it eventually somewhere, but Zeus, the epi I think goes with the tenuo, epitenuo, to draw down. So he drew down destructive night on the fierce or the strong or mighty battle, so that, optative from the verb to be, there might be the destructive toil of battle, peripaidi, around his dear son. So philoperipaidi. So that there might be destructive toil of battle around his dear son. Osan de proteroi troes, helikopa sakaius. So the Trojans, first of all, Osun from Otho, or in later Greek it's Otheo, but it's Otho, I think, here, to push. So they pushed back the Achaeans, the whirling-eyed Achaeans, much written on this thing here. The heli, like the word helix, heliso is to whirl, and the ops, the eye or face, so the whirling-eyed Achaeans. Blade of Gar. Now the blator is a pluperfect passive from ballo. For a man who was not in any way the basest, the worst among the Myrmidons, had been struck. And he is glorious Epagus, the son of great-hearted Agacleus. Who ruled from Manasseh. He ruled in Budaeos, well inhabited. So well inhabited Budaeos, Toprin previously. It's quite, Homer's brilliant really. He leaves that to the next line because the guy's now dead, but he had previously, he ruled in Budaeos, which was well inhabited, but that was before Toprin. Ata toti gesthlon and epsion ex anorixas. So we get a very strong ata, but at that, or then, ex anorixas, having killed, in fact, his noble brother, his noble Nepsion's cousin, his noble cousin, he went as a suppliant to Peleus and to Thetis with the with the silver, or silver-footed Thetis. Not exactly how he does that. Perhaps there was a temple to Thetis there, I'm not sure. The commentators will have something to say on it. So he went as a suppliant to Peleus and to silver-ankled, it's often translated, silver-footed, silver-ankled Thetis. But they, Pempon, they sent him into Ilium with its fair horses to follow from Hepamai, to follow along with Achilles, the breaker of men. This is from the rakes from Regnumi, and you can see the Anor here connected with Aner, Andros, and so on. So they sent him along with Achilles, breaker of men, or to follow, I should say, along with Achilles, breaker of men, into Ilium, which has good polos, good mares, perhaps, in order that he might fight with the Trojans. Glorious Hector struck him at that time, accordingly, as he was touching, literally, and it takes a genitive, it's necus, this is a genitive, as he was touching, perhaps laying hands on the dead body. And he struck him, kephale, in the head. It takes a double accusative, the ton and the kephale. So he struck him in the head. Kermadion is the noun here. It means it's with a stone, despite the fact that it's diminutive. I think it's with a large stone. So valiant Hector struck him in the head with a stone at that time when he was touching or laying hands on the corpse. Hey, relative pronoun here with the pasa, and it's going with kephale. And we've had this rather grotesque expression before in Homer. Someone else died the same way, with a hit with a stone. And so all of his head, chiasthe, this is an aorist passive, chiadzo, it was smashed in two in the strong helmet, from chorus. Accordingly, he then, kapesen from catapipto, he fell face down upon the corpse, and death, which is the destroyer of the humus, of the thumos, the soul smashing death, poured around him. And Ara, again, as you might expect, accordingly, there was grief for Patroclus, and again we're defining genitive, over his dead comrade, over his comrade who was killed. Ithusen, so like to a hierax is a hawk, nominative is hierax, hierakos, like to a hawk, he darted ahead through the promachone, through the front lines, it really is here, through the front lines of battle. And and the OK has been kept enjambment again. This is a dative from Ocus, so it's the swift hawk. So like to a swift hawk, he darted through the front lines of battle. A swift hawk who, now phobio is to drive in fear, so who drives in fear. Two fairly rare words, the koloios, these are the jackdaws, they're kinds of birds, and even rarer this word meaning a starling, so who drives in fear, the jackdaws and the starlings. So like that, thus, now interesting, we don't get this very often in Homer. Homer now steps back and actually comes into the picture. He actually now addresses, this is a vocative, he actually addresses. So thus, O Patroclus, you who give commands to the horse, so commander of the horse, thus, now suo, funny form, it's from suo, sigma epsilon upsilon omega. This is a second person, pluperfect middle. So thus, O Patroclus, you who give commands to the horse, you darted straight for the Lycaeans and the Trojans. Ithos generally takes a genitive here. So straight for the Lycaeans and the Trojans. And care, your heart, kekoloso, here is this one is a pluperfect passive. It's from koloo, to be angry, you get kolos, anger. And your heart had been angered, had been made angry, and another defining genitive here, over your comrade. And that is the next section of Book 16.